Hey guys, and welcome back to Amanda something. I don't know. um, I have really been enjoying making videos again, so thank you so much for following along with me. I think I'm supposed to do stuff like this, so before we get started, just a reminder that I'm not a doctor, a nutritionist, a dietitian, any of those things. However, I do have my certification from eCornell in plant-based nutrition, and I am getting a sustainability certification from eCornell as well. I also think that there is a lot of value in the information that we share with with each other. I just think that we need to be cautious and use our critical thinking skills. So please use yours. Also, if you're enjoying any of these videos, please comment. Feel free to ask any questions that you have. I really like to help out with any questions people have. And subscribe to the channel if you're feeling it. So today I want to talk about sprouts and microgreens. And I think we've talked about this before, either here on Instagram. This is the Sprout Book by Doug Evans. There's a foreword by Joel Fuhrman, in case you know him. There's not a lot that I'm going to reference in this book right now, just because I haven't read it as recently, but it does have a nice little chart that I will probably use. And in case you haven't gotten it before, some of the best parts are probably that chart and then some recipes in the back. Where's the chart? Now I can't find it. Here it is. Okay. Okay. So before I get started with the chart though, I will probably try to include maybe somewhere over here, I haven't done this before, a photo of some of the sprouts or microgreens that I've personally done. Typically, I do a lot of lentil sprouts, and black lentil sprouts are one of my favorites, just for their nutritional value. I have a big bulk bag that I bought of them that will literally last me years. So I do those at home. To be honest, I haven't been as good about them recently, just because I like having them in more so like smoothies or raw hummus. Raw hummus sounds really good right now, actually. We've had such good fruit that I haven't wanted to make it into a smoothie lately, because when it's like really, really good, you just want the experience of like eating the whole thing. So yeah, one thing that I love about lentil sprouts is how easy they are. I mean, like, so easy. You don't need any time or any real space dedicated to it. It's just super easy, and lentils are so cheap, or they should be. If you're getting expensive lentils, then you're doing it wrong. So yeah, I do those a lot. We also have things like mung beans for some mung bean sprouts. I know Jack from Raw Tropical Living does those a lot. What else do we have right now? We have some peas. For sprouting, we have some stuff like quinoa and millet and amaranth. You can sprout all of those, and buckwheat. I don't sprout those as much or as often, I guess, but those are maybe more for special occasions or specific recipes. And broccoli sprouts, for sure, broccoli sprouts. If you haven't had them before, they have some really impressive anti-cancer properties in the sulforaphane, and they're actually so dense in the sulforaphane that you can have too much of them. So, you know, go slow. And they taste kind of spicy, so they're a nice little addition. We also buy sprouts from the store sometimes, things like alfalfa sprouts or radish sprouts, just for a little more variety. But recently I got into microgreens. We have a yard now, which is awesome, and we have this walkway. Our front door is sort of on like the side of the house, and this walkway goes past these areas that I didn't really know what to do with them. other than put a bajillion of like the same bush or something, but it's not quite enough space for most fruit trees and things like that. And it occurred to me that we've been having a lot of melons lately. So when we have those melons, depending on the type, when they're from the store, I don't think we even have seeded watermelons at our store here. Like, it's not even an option, which is maybe kind of a bummer because we would have planted some already. But cantaloupe and honeydew are seeded, and they have tons of seeds in there. And gardening now, being a gardener now, that feels weird to say, but I guess that's what I am. Yay! That's how I felt about being a surfer. It's like that first like initial like aha moment and like the light bulb. Maybe I can get one of those graphics or something. And you feel lit up, and I don't know. It's like a thing you always wanted to do, right? And you're finally doing it. So anyways, there's this space along the walkway that wasn't particularly great for a lot of things. And I realized that we could throwing out all these seeds felt like sacrilege to me. Like, it was just horrible to feel like we were throwing these seeds out, because these little bitty seeds grow into these giant things that produce so many billions more seeds. It's just insane in each single seed. It's really insane to think about. So instead of throwing them out, I tossed a bunch of cantaloupe seeds in. I put a little compost down. Our soil's really sandy, and I put some mulch down. And then I tossed these cantaloupe seeds into the dirt along that walkway. And we've planted cantaloupe already, so I have a general idea of what they look like when they sprout. And after about a week, they had sprouted, and they were the size of what I would call like microgreens. And I did some research. You always want to double check these things, because there are a lot of plants where you're not actually supposed to eat like the seed or the leaf or whatever. Like, it's really just the fruit that you're supposed to eat. So do your research on this. But I double checked, and cantaloupe sprouts or microgreens checked out. They were good to go. Apparently there's something super fancy that certain chefs use, and it was described as having like a cucumber light melon flavor. I actually thought that I could taste the bitter flavor pretty well too, but I like it. Like, it was a good it was a good flavor for a green, and very refreshing. A lot of cucumber flavor to me, but the texture is so freaking good. Like, it's just soft but crispy and fresh and just so good. Like, you feel amazing eating these and putting them on top of stuff. That flavor is like an accent, like a condensed cucumber flavor is just out of this world. So I'll try to show you like a clip of them, because part of what we're doing is just cutting them when we're eating them, right? So that they're literally as fresh as they could possibly be. We are rinsing them really well too. I mean, I put compost down that I bought because we don't have our own compost going yet. So, I don't know what might be in that compost. So we're rinsing them well. We cut them in batches of probably like 20 or so, 25 at a time, and then eat them pretty much every day since about a week ago when they started showing up. And it has been amazing. I mean, it was super quick. It was free because it was using what we already had, which I'll talk about in another video. And it was really low maintenance. I mean, so low maintenance. I have other stuff in the garden that's like kind of high maintenance, and this was just so easy. I mean, I tossed seeds in the ground and watered them a little bit, and they grew into exactly what I wanted. And now we're getting to eat really fresh food every single day. And it doesn't take up a lot of space. You can absolutely do this somewhere where you don't have a yard at all. I've seen people doing this in trays that are maybe about this wide, or this long, this wide. I think Tanny does that. She has quite a few going. She's pretty good about her sprouts. So microgreens are sort of like just a little bit farther along than a sprout is. So that's maybe how I would describe the difference. But yeah, they're really, really easy. They don't require space. That's some of what's great about both of them, is that they're very cost effective. And if you live somewhere that's a little bit more like a food desert, or if you're having trouble accessing fresh food, if you don't have a yard and you want to grow some of your own food, those are options. They're still options. So you can do this in an apartment, in a studio apartment. You can do it, you know, granted, you either need to get enough sun or have some kind of a lamp probably, if you're doing the microgreens. The sprouts, you don't even need sunlight for. It's nice to have some sunlight for, but you don't have to have it. So yeah, I will try to show you some of those, but I thought that this is not remotely comprehensive. A lot of the points that this guy is making in this book is that generally speaking, so, you know, double check, but generally speaking, you can pretty much sprout anything. You can pretty much have microgreens of a lot of foods. But whenever you're throwing out seeds, ask yourself if it could just be more food, because it might be possible. And you already bought the thing, or you already grew the thing. So if you could use it in that way, and it's such a nutritionally dense source of nutrients, that sounded really smart. It's such a nutritionally dense food, and it gives you access to such fresh food. It's sort of like, why not, you know? But on these charts here, he's got information like sprouting methods, seed quantity, soak and rinse time, sprouting and spraying time. Some of them you spray with a water bottle. Microgreen spraying time, yield sprouts, like how much you're getting, and yield microgreens. And then a list, of course, of the types of seeds. So it's really handy because he's got stuff like salad sprouts. There's gelatinous sprouts, which can get kind of complicated, stuff like chia and flax. Arugula and mustard actually fall into that category a little bit. From my experience, I haven't actually sprouted, I think, the millet yet, but stuff like buckwheat definitely gets gelatinous too, or it can. But yeah, he's got legume and bean sprouts. The bean sprouts in particular, you do have to be more careful for. He's got stuff that he's calling shoots. So that can be a little bit more like a microgreen. Stuff like pea, sunflower. You've probably seen sunflower shoots at the grocery store before. He's got grains, wheatgrass, and other grasses. And that's the chart. So it's not comprehensive, it's not everything, but it's got a lot of really good, easy reference information, which I love. I like all of it. So stuff like alfalfa, basil, broccoli, cabbage, celery, clover, fenugreek, hemp, onion, radish, watercress. What are some other interesting ones? Barley grass, oat grass, all kinds of stuff like almonds and sunflower seeds, peas. So yeah, you really have access to a lot more than you might think. And given your living situation, you probably have more ability than you might think. If you want some maybe how-to videos with some of these, feel free to let me know. Some of them can be a little different, but like with the lentil sprouts, I just do those in a jar, and then I soak them for 12 hours or overnight, and then I rinse about 3 times a day. And after about 3 to 4 days, they're the length that I want and they're edible. And I like to wait ideally until they have little small leafy green pieces on them, which is part of why I like, if I can, put them in a window with a little bit of sun right there at the end of it. Just for a short period. I don't want them to get like too warm, for example. You don't want them too warm or too cold. But I actually do prefer sprouting at home, just because I think it's safer. You do want to make sure that whatever jar you're using is sanitized. We have a dishwasher, so luckily we are able to do that. It uses really hot water, much hotter than what I would put on my own hands. So yeah. And then the cantaloupe microgreens were like surprisingly easy. So I think we'll do a lot more microgreens now. I'm excited to try some honeydew microgreens, and we'll see what else comes up. So I'll keep you posted. I hope that was helpful. I'm really enjoying gardening, so I really feel like if there's anything that you can grow at home, regardless of your living circumstances, sprouts and microgreens are such an excellent option. Also, the website, if you followed me on Instagram, you might have seen an Instagram live that I did with some of the plants that I got from there recently, fastgrowingtrees.com, and there are hyphens in between each of those words. They do have a lot of plants that are more like the dwarf size. And if you have a sunny enough apartment, you can grow them actually pretty effectively in a pot indoors, even if you live up north, especially for the tropical plants. So definitely check that out. You might be able to do more than you think right now. So yeah. All right, well, thanks for joining me, guys. I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions below, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.